So here we are, folks. I'm sitting at the point where I'm trying to cut my gears and lay it out properly. Now, originally, I was going to use the rotary indexing table that I had in the shop here and just dial it to the division I needed and make a pass with the fly cutter. Unfortunately, the indexing table that I have doesn't go as fine as I needed it to do that work. Now, Matt's correct that, who am I to correct Matt, or even second his opinion, but anyways, so he was correct that the stacking error was going to be negated, but I was still, I got a 5.625, 5.625, and it just, with a real indexing table, you've got discs that just drop pins for you, or you can set up two wipers and do it that way. You're not really looking at the numbers, and it's just so much easier to do. I didn't have any of that, so rather than stick with a calculator and do the math and try to dial it in and overshoot, come back, go over, and there was a little bit of slop in the table that I had. All this other stuff. So you know what? I've got a way I can get around it, and I don't need to part with the table at all. So here's what I've done. Here's my gear blank, and here's this knee pallet. Again, I got this from YouTube poster Ox Tool, Tom Lipton. This thing is a lifesaver. I think I'm going to be using these for the rest of my life. These are just incredible. Just take a couple parallels, stick them underneath, mount this table, check it, square it up. You're awesome, and you mount anything to it. Mine, I've got a bigger hole drilled into the center for sake of that bearing work for the lead screw, so it works out great for this blank. So I clamped it all down. I leveled all this out both ways, and now I needed to center my blank. So for anybody that hasn't done this, I've got this little rig. I had to turn that, get it into the quill. But anyway, so you're taking a dial indicator, right? You're spinning around. You're just trying to maintain a standard measurement. So I'm at 10th thou over here, 10th thou over here, 10th thou over here. Sorry about the glare. 10th thou. So I know that the center of this disc is directly under the quill. So now what I do is I come over here. Everybody needs one of these. As far as where's the switch? There it is. So at this point, I zero this out. Bang, bang. 0, 0. Bottom's the knee, and I'm not using it, and that scale's screwed up anyway. But anyway, so now I'm zeroed. And the plan, let me get out of the glare here. I posted a link to the theoretical machinist dot whatever the hell it was bolt calculator. Now, unfortunately, the computer at work it doesn't handle the picture software. It's HTML5 or something like that. So I couldn't actually print out what the layout was going to be. That's the generic one. But what it does for me, as we can see, so I use the bolt diameter circle of 3.6. This is actually a 4.1, but then I've got a little bit of a step right there. So that's 24. No. Yeah, that's just shy of a quarter inch. I wanted a little bit beefier, so I made it like 28 or something or other. Minus that off the diameter gives me a 3.6 circle diameter. I'm going to punch 1/8 holes. I'm only doing 32. So as you can see up here, that's the outer. Now I also did it again. Oh. Forgive me. I did it again with an inner. On the inner, I'm 3-inch circle diameter, same size hole, same number of holes. But here's the difference. Here I got a start angle of 0. 0 is straight off this way. Here I've got an angle of my 5.625. Why? With 32, let me see if I can come up this here, see if this makes any sense to anybody. Here's my first one. So I'm 1.8 inches that way, and at a 0 angle. Well, my very next hole is 11.25. Well, if I was running 64, my next hole would be 5.625, right? Well, I'm only running 32. So when I did this layout, I started at 0. And when I did the inner, the second layout, which is the smaller one, I started at, you could set this, I started it at 6.25 or 5.265. So this one's actually going to lay in between, start between the first two circles of the outer pattern. So now this gives me 64. And the reason I did this is my disc for my hole diameter. I could have done it, but it was really tight. And the idea is I'm gonna punch a whole bunch of holes in here, and they're going to be my reference holes. And then I've gotten to that part where that's going to matter yet, but I'm going to use those to lay out my teeth. So I could have done it in one shot, but the gap in between, it was going to be pretty small. I think it was less than 1/8 already. Like, yeah. So I decided to break it up. I did two sets of 2 rings, 2 sets of 32. It's going to work out exactly. It's going to work out great. All the numbers are the same. And basically, so this is just a title sheet, and it should have an accurate drawing, but again, I couldn't represent it. So I'll take those out of the way. So now what I've got, 2 sheets of coordinates. Looks like a lot. So I've got hole 1 to 32, and what this calculator does for you, it plots it. So now when I want to make my first hole, I just dial my X over to 1.8, I leave my Y at 0, and that's my first hole. My second hole, bang, bang. Third, bang, bang. Fourth, bang, bang. And it's an extremely accurate way of plotting your holes. This is the same thing. If it was a perfect world, I could just dial out to that diameter, or I guess that's radius, and just index my table. Drill a hole, index my table, drill a hole. Matt's table's got the resolution to do it. Mine doesn't. I can do it this way. And it's, if not more accurate than the indexing table, because I don't have to worry about backlash. Well, I mean, I have to worry about backlash in these, but that's easy to compensate for. My particular rodeo table isn't that accurate, and it's a little bit sloppy. So this form of doing it, and when you see what I'm going to do with the holes, it's going to make more sense. This way of doing it is far more accurate than what I was going to do before. So basically, I'm going to drill all of these 32 holes, and I'm going to drill all these 32 holes. I'm not going to record it. It's just going to be silly. And when I get to the point where I'm going to utilize those holes, I'll make another video so you can see exactly what I'm going to do. So this is going to take up a good amount of time. Never done it before. Yeah, it's the 64 holes. How long can it take? And so I'll bang this off, and I'll get back to it, and I'll start up another video, explain what the next step. All right? Talk to you soon.